in your agenda, the last part of this meeting is action items. Now, at the breakout 2 ago, we made a bunch of action items. We made a bunch of what I like, what I don't like. So the first action item on that list to follow up is a summary of this meeting with the outcomes. So that will be a primary deliverable for the PSA to take not only the notes that were generated here, but to take the input from all the remote sites and crunch this into a document that we share publicly. There will be a comment period, if you will. If somebody sees something or we don't catch something, we will welcome comments. But I think it's key that we get this information out there and that we share that information with people so that people can share with other people and generate more moving forward. I think an action item that needs to be on everybody's list is to submit comments to the same level of public health protection document. That is open until May. And I think we talked a lot about that, and I think that needs to go on people's action items. Follow up with that. Read that document, comment on that document. Educational material development. One of the things that came up was wow, it'd be great if all the regional centers were in one area. We're going to make Elizabeth raise her hand again, Elizabeth Newbold. NECAFS has a clearinghouse for what the states are doing. So that document is there. But what I would like to propose is that we take the list of educational materials that people said they would like and perhaps have a discussion with the regional centers about that and see if it's on anybody's list or what we might do about it. Michelle's giving me the stink eye.
We're at 6 months.
Oh, okay, well, there you go. That is an important, thank you, Michelle, for saying that. I totally deserve the stink eye. Michelle said we've only got 6 months left in our regional center. So some of the regional centers funding is ending. There is hopefully an RFA coming out that we can apply to, but we'll hope and we'll say that getting the regional centers refunded, I'm going to shamelessly plug the PSA, getting the PSA refunded will be priorities for moving this thing forward too. But in the short time, we will talk about that. I know NECAFS and one of the other regional centers has a little more time on their clock. I think, I'm interested on your take on this, I think one of the things that we maybe should do in that summary document eventually is to try and provide a update through a dialogue with FDA about the progress and movement on the things we've talked about at this meeting. So try and I don't know if we'll have to have this discussion with FDA, but periodically, every couple of months, take the summary document and update what got done in those deliverables that we talked about. Has there been any progress on these things that we talked about? And I think that might be a good way for us all to sort of, one of the things that came up over and over again was transparency and communication. And that might be something we can facilitate with FDA to sort of say, yes, this is where we're at, this is where the progress has been made. And I think I should stand here so Gretchen can't see me when I suggest this. I can see her just on the edge of this, on this big Post-it. I think there's also a desire to know, at least in the rule, and this came up a lot, is when will the decision be made about if they're going to open the rule up, if they're not going to open the rule up. I'm not sure we know that, but what things would go into making that decision. So I think those are things that we'll follow up with to try and get some transparency about. Does that work? So that was the list of action items that I had based on this. Is there any, keeping in mind that you can't make this a million miles long, but is there any other glaring action item that should be on this list? Everybody is like, I got a flight to catch, shut up. No? Okay. So a little bit of housekeeping issues. The recording of this will be available in a couple of weeks. So if you are dying to relive these 2 days, you too can listen to this at your leisure and re-enjoy all the fine moments of Samir describing a house multiple times when all the regional centers couldn't hear him anyway. So, and with that, I would like to remind you, also a housekeeping, remind you to fill out your evaluation. So if you want to start now and ignore the rest of this talk, you can. But please fill out your evaluations. I would be remiss to not take a few moments to acknowledge certain people. I want to start with the remote locations, particularly because they have been subjected to Zoom hiccups for the last 2 days. So for all you folks out there in the hinterlands, we really appreciate you being part of this. We absolutely appreciate you bringing the information to please stand up. Actually, come forward, Michelle. We have a glass for you. Michelle Danilick from the Southern Center. I think she deserves a round of applause for. Yeah, we have gifts to make your luggage worse. Phil Toko, who took care of the North Central region. Is he still here? No, he bolted. We also had Elizabeth Newbold, who did the Northeast region. And Connie Fisk, who doesn't get anything because she's on the team. No, Connie Fisk, she can stand up and take. She did a good job for the Northwest. I didn't mean to belittle that at all. I absolutely have to extend my thanks to the AV staff from Production Partners Media. That would be Peter John Ross in the back there. You can see him. Scott Spears, who I think left. Christina Palucci in the back. Thank you. And Mike Malektic. Is that, there you go. And last but not least, Stacy Deuce, who's been doing the sound, and we've been driving him nuts with all these microphones. So good job, Stacy. You don't see him here, and we don't see him a lot either, but I have to put a shout out to Mark Casasana, who is our IT guy in Geneva, New York, who has really been instrumental in helping us set this up. He troubleshot a problem we had at lunch remotely, so can't say enough about Mark and what he does for the team. I also would like to thank the hotel staff. Betsy, say hotel, it's late in the day, who's not actually in the room, but Nikki, Sherry, Star, and John really provided good service to us with all the registration, all the moving parts, the food. I think the staff has been really nice with us, shortcutting us in the elevator when we need to, so I really want to say a shout out to them. I would also like to acknowledge and make them come forward for gift baggie bags. Our facilitators, Chip Simmons, who volunteered to facilitate, Trevor Suslow, Chana Left, Ashut, Adkari, please come forward, and Stuart. All of these folks got asked sort of late in the game to facilitate sections, and I think all of you who had to sit through a section with a facilitator can really appreciate the work that goes into that. And their work is not done yet because they have to submit summaries. So I think they deserve a round of applause. I also would like to include in that our remote site facilitators who are not seen, but who also had to go through training and also have to submit summaries, and they don't even get a gift basket. So I'll just apologize for that now. I certainly would like to thank our presenters, who most of them are gone, but they do include our FDA staff who's still here. I also want to thank the FDA staff who are here for really answering questions on the fly. They really stepped up. They didn't know what they were going to get at times, and they really stepped up and answered questions. So I really do want to recognize Samir, Crudy, and Chelsea for the effort of being here and being responsive during the meeting. Bob and Joe, and Bob and Joe's counterparts. Really can't thank you guys enough for working with us on the agenda, for trying to keep us in line, for giving us responsiveness from the states, and really helping us plan this. So I really thank you guys very much for all you did to make this happen. And this isn't last, but I need the entire PSA team to come forward. Yeah. And Cassidy, you should come up too. No, you can't. So what you should know about this team is there's several members of this team who are horrified to be standing up here. Rob and Michelle probably being chief among them. But if you guys had any idea of what has gone on in the last couple of months to pull this off, late nights, early mornings, weekends, crazy text messages, registration, evaluation, agendas, hotel setup, Zoom organization, training, data gathering, all of that stuff, they deserve all the credit for that. And I really can't thank them all enough. Okay. And I think we broke legal work limit things because Cassidy, who is quite young, has put in a lot of effort on this training. She is the daughter of Connie Fisk. Yeah, sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. Connie Fisk, and she has done a great job for us. So special shout out to Cassidy for all her work. You guys can sit down. Lastly, they should be the last. But lastly, I really want to thank all of you for taking 2 days to come. The breakout sessions would not have been what they are without the participation. One of the things I pay attention to at these meetings, I don't write it down, but I do pay attention, is who says something. Who raises their hand and says something. So what I found really interesting about this meeting is, I of course facilitated one breakout group, so I only know within my own breakout group what happened. But when I looked at the bigger meeting, when I looked at people who raised their hands, provided information to the meeting, provided comments, I would say well over 80% of the room said something. Probably more like 90%. I can pick out the guys who I think said nothing. But I'm assuming you said something in your facilitation group. So all of the outcomes to this meeting, anything that moves this forward, it is a credit to every person in this room. It is a credit to all those people at the remote sites. So I really want to thank all of you for your time, your effort, for sharing your expertise. I think all of those things we laid out on day one, listening, sharing, I think you all did a fantastic job. So thank you very much. Very safe travels home, and we hope to see you soon.